Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers Newark Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
Have whatever you want near you. So pillows, blankets, towels. If you know you get a little chilly or it's warmer out today, if you know you're getting a little warmer, just being mindful of that temperature shifts you might experience throughout class. But we're going to start seated today. So you can sit up on a pillow or a blanket just to kind of lift the hips. And we'll actually just bring the legs straight out. So it doesn't matter if they're straight out in front of you and a little bit closer together, or if they're a little bit wider. So just starting to find like a comfortable place for the legs to be lengthened out in front of you. And if you're feeling really tight or tender in the backs of the legs right when you arrive, you can always slide an extra pillow or blanket just behind the knees or behind the thighs, just to give yourself a little lift. And then you might notice just as we settle in that you can just gently remove that. You can just rock out the feet, maybe roll out the ankles a few times. Wiggle the toes. Let your hands rest wherever's comfortable. And you can begin to close your eyes or just soften the gaze. If you're feeling extra tired, you can always just keep the gaze soft and perhaps just finding a spot in front of you to gently gaze at. It can be straight in front of you, maybe on a table or on the ground. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been running all over the place lately. I'm extra tired, and there's a good chance if I close my eyes at any point before bedtime, I will go to sleep. So I am definitely keeping mine open. And just soften the shoulders away from the ears. Relaxing the jaw. And feel as if you're trying to sit yourself up nice and tall, but don't try to get into a position where you're in such a good posture that you just feel like you're holding on to a lot. So as you lengthen the spine at the same time, just kind of let your body relax into it a little bit. So that way it doesn't feel like you need to hold your breath or you don't need to constrict anything to hold yourself here. And just start to observe the breath, feeling the inhales go in and out. Just continuing to allow the body to soften here. And as we continue to just settle in, if you feel like if you had props underneath your legs and you're starting to just feel like you can play a little bit with taking them even just slightly out, so there's just a little less lift, feel free to always just kind of check in with your body and take that. And if you're not sure, you can play with it. And if you still feel like you're holding on to a lot, just gently put them back in. And if your legs are closer together, so if they're more just directly in front of you, just start to take them a little bit wider. It doesn't matter how big that wide is. So think maybe like a V, like a pretty narrow V. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Let's just stretch it nice and tall to start. And then reach your hands towards the ground in front of you as far as they'll go, which could be really far. They could be not really far. You might notice a sensation right away, either in the backs of the legs or just the back body when you find a place in front of you. And if you reached your hands really far and you realized you went too far, again, don't be afraid to just kind of pull yourself back a little bit. And then as we continue to hold, you can always play with taking it a little further. So again, remember, in our yin practice, we're not so much worried about like really precise alignment. We're really just checking in and tuning in with the sensations in our body. And you can keep the head and neck in a more neutral position, or you can release the head, allow the chin to fall to the chest. Reconnecting with the breath. You can play with going a little bit further with the hands, perhaps rounding the spine a little bit more. You're going to keep this lean forward, but just start to walk your hands closer to your right leg. So maybe that means on the inside of the right leg or on the right leg, or one hand on the inside and one hand on the outside. So you're just getting a little rotation, a little side bend, a little twist. You can always change the positioning of the head and the neck. Always reconnecting to the breath. We're not going to stay here for too much longer. Maybe just like 2 more rounds of breath. Begin to walk your hands back to the middle. You can pause in the middle or just continue to go over to the other side. Again, you can always change the positioning of the head and the neck. Your sides might feel a little different here as you rotate from side to side. Last couple of breaths here. And then begin to come back to the center. And slowly start to bring yourself up nice and slow. And you can keep your gaze down for a moment if your head is heavy. And then you'll start to bring your head up. You can lean back on your hands and just start to bend the knees. And your legs might feel really heavy here because they've been straight for a while. You can take a little windshield wiper, rinse that out. And then just come into any seated position that's comfortable. So you might cross the legs if you love the legs straight. Go ahead and take that again. That's perfect. But just start to find any kind of comfortable seat here. We're going to check in with the neck a little bit before we move on to the next seated position. So just allow the chin to drop towards the center of the chest. And again, your eyes can be open or closed. And just gently start to rock your head from side to side. Just checking in with the neck. There's always lots of requests for neck and shoulders. Because we kind of just sit hunched over on computers or phones or plates, eating, whatever. Everything we do is forward. Whatever you spend your day doing. So there's lots of little muscles that hold up the neck. And so when we just find this really nice and slow movement here, we're just kind of meeting each little piece and just starting to break up some of that tension. So the next time your right ear finds your right shoulder, just pause. We've done this together before, so just a reminder that you don't need to force the ear close to the shoulder. You're just really letting the head hang. Doesn't matter how far it goes. You can let the hands rest wherever is comfortable. Don't feel like any other part of no part of your body really needs to be working here. You're just letting your head fall to one side. Your gaze is forward. And start to turn your gaze. So keep your ear towards the right shoulder, but then bring your gaze, like you're pointing your nose towards the right knee. So whether the leg is straight out or bent, you're kind of just bringing the gaze towards the right side. So you're just finding a different spot on the left side of the neck. And again, we're not trying to like press it as heavy as we can go to just feel all the pulling sensations. It's really just about shifting the direction. Just a couple more breaths and then we'll move to the other side. This is a really easy one that you can do a few times throughout your day. Just after you, either right when you get to your desk or your computer or whatever you're doing in the morning, especially if you experience a lot of neck tightness and tension. In the middle of the day, and then maybe towards the end of your day. Also could feel really nice to do this before bed. So just start to allow the chin to roll back across the center of the chest, and we're going to pause on the left side. So we'll take the gaze forward first. Let the ear drop heavy towards the left shoulder. Start to turn your gaze to the left. So you're still keeping your head heavy, but just bringing your gaze a little bit more to the left now. Just a few more rounds of breath here. And remember, you might not be feeling this a lot. You might be feeling it a lot. It's maybe somewhere in the middle. And just because you're not always feeling the sensations either doesn't mean that the poses and the shapes aren't doing exactly what we want them to do. It's just breaking up some of that surface. One more breath. And then allow the chin to come back to the center of the chest. Roll the shoulder heads back. And lift the head up. And you can take any movement here with the legs, with the neck. We're going to start to make our way onto our backs. So have props within hand's reach. So that way you don't have to lift yourself up and go looking for them. And as always, whenever we come into a new position, just kind of check in with the body, take any wiggles and movements that you need when you first arrive. And just start to hug your right knee into your chest. So you could use your hands or you can hold on to your pants. We're not holding this for long, just a couple of breaths. And gently switch. And gently release both feet to the ground so the knees are pointing up to the sky. And just start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. They can be really big windshield wipers or really small ones. And start to bring your arms out into a T. Palms face up. You can keep windshield washering the legs or you can find stillness. And then bend the elbows and your fingertips are actually going to point up towards the ceiling. So like you're a football goal bar, whatever those things are called. I clearly know nothing about football. So just kind of check in with your shoulders here for a moment. And you might kind of just do this little motion of just moving the arms forward and back. Just kind of observing the rotation in the arms. There's always a purpose, always a point to my madness. So as you're doing that movement, you'll eventually let the hands come towards the ground, but pointing towards your toes. So you have like this upside down football, and your hand might not touch the ground. It might just float. That's fine. You can slide something underneath it. If there's any pain, as always, happening in the shoulder, just straighten the elbow a bit, but still try to keep your palm down. So you can always play with like the bend, the degree bend in the elbow. I don't want you to feel any pain in the shoulder though. You'll keep your left arm as is. So you've got that upside down football field, fingertips pointing to the toes. And then bring your right arm back into your goal. And then go the other way. So like you're in a half cactus. So now you just look like a cactus. So you've got your right fingertips pointing up above you and your left fingertips pointing to the ground. That right palm is up to the sky. Now with this one, all sides of your body are going to be doing different things, which might feel confusing at first, but it actually helps to kind of mix up the right and the left. It helps our brain. So just start to lengthen your left leg long, and you'll allow the left leg to just rest on the floor. If your hips start to lift a little bit, that's okay. And your right foot is going to stay exactly where it is. So we're in this funky cactus. Our shoulders are doing different things. Our hips are doing different things. So now that we've found this funky shape, start to tune back in with your breath. The arms have been in place for a little bit, so maybe you play with the props that you have and taking them out just a little bit. Seeing if your body can go a little bit deeper. So before we change up this shape into the other side, we're going to do one more thing. And that is just to allow the right knee to fall out to the side like a half butterfly. So it's okay if as that knee drops out to the side, it feels a little bit more resistant. Just add whatever support you need. You can play with where the foot is, how close it is, how far it is away from the left leg. Just a few more rounds of breath. One more breath here. Don't make any abrupt movements. Keep your legs as they are. And start to lift your left hand up. So the fingertips point up to the sky. And you can do that little funky motion of letting the arm go forward and back. And then allow the arm to open up into a cactus. And again, it's okay if your hand doesn't reach the floor. Slide something underneath it. Or you can always play with straightening the elbow a little bit. So we're going to pause here for 2 breaths before we move the next arm. Now start to make a little movement in your right arm. Let the fingertips come up to the sky. Find a little bit of that funky rock. As many as you need. And then you'll let the fingertips point to the toes, palm face down. Again, slide something underneath your hand. And now both arms might feel more resistant than they did earlier in one way or another, because they've now kind of sat in the opposite position for a little while. And that's okay. Let's pause here. We'll move our left leg first, so that straight leg. Just start to bend the knee so the foot can come back onto the floor. And right away, let's plant your right foot back on the floor as well. We'll pause here. And windshield wiper the knees. Observe the sides, what's going on. And begin to straighten your right leg. Reconnecting with your breath. So our last move here will be allowing your left knee to drop out to the side. Coming into that half butterfly, whatever that looks like today. Last few moments here. Last breath here. We'll move our left arm first, so allow those fingertips to come up to the sky. You can find that movement, and then you'll let the right arm come into it. You might even reach the arms up overhead. Your legs are still in that tree position. And then just rest your hands on your belly. So start to bring movement into the right leg and place the foot on the floor. And place the left foot on the floor. Any movement here to rinse out. And start to bring one knee into your chest. And then the other. And it's okay if the legs feel really heavy. You can be still or find a little movement, just gently massaging the lower back. And just finding a place to pause for a moment. And you can hold on to your pants. And start to place the feet on the floor. And it's already time to find your way into your final Shavasana. So as always, you can come onto your back and you can find any props that you need. So you can place something underneath your knees, or you can always slide your legs up a wall or on a chair or a couch. Or you always have the option to come onto your side. So just really encouraging you to find a place that feels like you can really release and let go and not have to hold on tight anywhere. So as you find that position, just continuing to allow your body to be nice and heavy, nice and relaxed. Using these last few minutes of class in complete and total gratitude. for your practice today. Shavasana. And just starting to find some awareness. Just gently bringing that awareness back into the space. Back into the body. Inviting small movements back in. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. Rocking your head from side to side.
When you feel ready, just beginning to make your way onto your side, nice and slowly into a seated position. No rush to get there. And then when you do arrive, keeping the focus inside, bringing your hands to your heart center, gently bowing your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.